Level 1, the savings account. Your first apartment has a buzzing fridge and a desk made from a door on 2 file cabinets, and your bank app glows at midnight. Now you are 24. You stare at your savings, $2,140 sitting in a large national bank earning 0.3%, with your asset ledger notebook empty beside it. Around $2,600 a month from freelance design, around $80 in interest for the whole year. At first, saving cash feels responsible. Everyone said to keep 6 months in the bank. Meanwhile, you watch a video where a major brokerage account statement shows cash losing value to inflation. Then you calculate, $2,140 this year buys less than $2,140 last year. Because of that math, you feel uneasy and open your asset ledger for the first time. Later that night, you write one line, cash equals sitting, assets equals growing, and you underline it twice. By morning, you decide to move $500 into a low-cost index fund just to see what happens. Level 2, the first asset. 2 years later, that same asset ledger notebook and door desk are still with you, but now the ledger has 2 pages filled. Now you are 26. You work full-time at a creative agency, around $3,800 a month, and you have around $1,200 left in cash savings on purpose. At first, keeping less cash feels scary. Your old self would have kept $10,000 in checking for safety. Meanwhile, you own $4,300 in index funds and a used camera kit you rent for $200 a month. Then your car needs a $650 repair and you don't have it in checking. Because you planned it, you use your low-limit credit card and pay it from next week's cash flow, not from assets. After that, you see your investments earned $312 while your cash savings earned $3. In that moment, you realize rich people aren't cash-heavy, they are cash flow-heavy. That's when you stop trying to save cash and start trying to buy things that pay you. Level 3, the cash flow shift. 2 years later, that same asset ledger notebook and rental camera kit sit on your new small office shelf. Now you are 28. You make around $5,100 a month, but you keep only around $2,000 in checking, around $11,000 across assets. At first, friends think you are broke because your bank balance is low. They show their $15,000 savings and feel safe. Meanwhile, your assets send you $340 a month in dividends and rental fees. Then your landlord raises rent by $250. Because you have cash flow, you cover it without touching your asset base. Instead, you add another small asset, a second lens that rents for $150 a month. After that, you update the ledger. Assets now pay part of rent. In that moment, you understand cash pays bills for 1 month, assets pay bills forever. So you start asking before every purchase, will this make me money or cost me money? Level 4, the inflation lesson. 3 years later, that same asset ledger notebook is now a thick binder with brokerage statements and rental logs. Now you are 31. You earn around $6,800 a month from agency plus rentals, and you deliberately keep around $3,500 cash, no more. At first, 2022 style inflation hits and groceries cost 18% more than last year. Your friend with $30,000 in savings loses $5,400 in purchasing power without spending it. Meanwhile, your stock assets dip short-term, but your rental rates climb with inflation. Then your camera gear and index funds adjust upward because assets reprice. Because you own things people need, inflation helps your asset values while hurting your cash. After that, you read a line from a large investment bank filing. Cash is a melting ice cube. In that moment, you close your savings app and open your brokerage app. You realize the rich don't fight inflation with more cash. They escape it by owning the things that inflate. Level 5, the leverage turn. 3 years later, that same asset ledger binder and brokerage app sit open during a meeting at a title company. Now you are 34. You make around $9,200 a month. You keep around $5,000 cash, and you control around $180,000 in assets using other people's money. At first, leverage sounds risky to everyone around you. You put $18,000 down to control a small studio you rent out. Meanwhile, a tenant pays your mortgage, and the bank owns most of it, but you own the cash flow. Then you calculate, your $18,000 cash if left in bank makes $90 a year. As equity, it makes $4,800 a year in rent minus costs. Because you understand it, you keep your cash minimal and your assets maximal. After that, your accountant explains depreciation and how cash savings have no tax advantage, but assets do. In that moment, you see why saving $50,000 in cash would have kept you stuck. So you stop admiring your bank balance and start admiring your asset column. Level 6, the bank game. For years later, that same asset ledger binder and rental keys are now in a fireproof safe with 10 different asset statements inside. Now you are 38. You net around $14,500 a month from business and rentals. You keep around $8,000 cash for operations, and you hold around $520,000 in assets. At first, you walk into a large national bank and ask for a line of credit, not a higher savings rate. The banker offers 0.4% on savings, but 7% on a loan against your assets. Meanwhile, you realize banks want you to save cash so they can lend your cash to asset owners. Then you flip it, you become the borrower they want, using your assets as collateral at low rates. Because your assets grow at 8–10% and you borrow at 7%, you keep the spread. After that, you use a $40,000 portfolio line to buy more assets, not a vacation. In that moment, you understand rich people don't save cash in banks. They make banks save cash for them. And that's when cash becomes a tool, not a goal. Level 7, the no cash flex. For years later, that same asset ledger binder and safe keys sit in your home office while your checking shows $6,200. Now you are 42. You make around $21,000 a month in total cash flow. You keep around $10,000 liquid, and you own around $1.1 million in income-producing assets. At first, your friends think wealth looks like a big bank account screenshot. You show them yours and they laugh. Only $10,000. Meanwhile, your monthly statements show $7,800 arriving without you working that month. Then one friend loses his job and burns $25,000 savings in 4 months with nothing to show. Because he saved cash, he saved a timer, not an engine. After that, you explain your rule. Cash is for 45 days of life. Everything else must buy or build assets. In that moment, he asks what if assets crash? So you show him the binder, 10 different assets, none dependent on one job. You tell him cash crashes 100% guaranteed to inflation, assets only sometimes. Level 8, the liquidity trap. 5 years later, that same asset ledger binder and portfolio line paperwork are on your desk during a market crash alert. Now you are 47. You net around $28,000 a month, keep around $25,000 cash now as a bigger buffer, and control around $2.3 million in assets. At first, the market drops 22% in 3 weeks, and everyone panics to cash. News says move to safety, save cash. Meanwhile, you see your rental income unchanged. Your business still cash flows, dividends get paid. Then friends sell assets low to hold cash, locking in losses. Because you have cash flow, you don't need to sell, you buy more at a discount with your $25,000 buffer. After that, 6 months later the market recovers and your discounted assets are up 31%. In that moment, you learn the richest lesson. Cash feels safe in a crash, but it is what makes you poor in a recovery. So you write on the ledger cover, don't save cash, save buying power. Level 9, the teaching. 5 years later, that same asset ledger binder and safe sit open for your daughter's first money lesson. Now you are 52. You make around $34,000 a month passive and active combined. Keep around $30,000 liquid, own around $3.8 million in assets. At first, she shows you her first paycheck, $3,200, and says she saved $2,000 in cash, proud. You smile because you did the same at 24. Meanwhile, you open her own new asset ledger notebook, blank like yours was. Then you show her your 28-year curve, cash flat, assets exponential. Because you saved receipts, you show how $500 invested at 24 is now $4,900. After that, you set her rule, pay bills, keep 45 days cash, invest the rest into things that pay you. That's when she asks why schools teach save cash. You answer because banks profit when you save cash and rich profit when they own assets. And you hand her the $500 to start. Level 10, legacy. 6 years later, that same asset ledger binder, an original $2,140 bank statement from age 24, are framed together in your office. Now you are 58. You net around $41,000 a month, keep around $40,000 cash for deals, and your asset base is around $6.2 million working for you. At first, mornings are quiet without money panic. You volunteer teaching wealth basics at the same community center where you once learned. Meanwhile, a 24-year-old in the back raises his hand and says his bank told him to save $20,000 cash for security. Then you walk over with your old door desk photo and your first asset ledger page. Because of that, you show him the melting ice cube versus the growing tree. After that, he opens his phone and moves $200 from savings to his first index fund. In that moment, you see the cycle break, not with more cash saved, but with one asset bought. The cycle continues.